It's strategies for growth, leveraging state and local programs. Again, these are some more agencies and organizations around the state that can help you with your small business. This panel is going to be moderated by Dezaray Johnson, and also participating in today's session are Tyler Patton, David Miller, and Dusty Delano. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dezaray.
Thank you so much, Brian. We are all very excited to be here with you today. We are considered resource partners, and so I'm excited to share with you, hopefully answer some of the questions you have today. So as we've sat through the panels and learned a little bit about the challenges our local small businesses are facing, we've heard from business owners, we've heard from workforce who are tremendous resource partners of small businesses. We're going to round that out with some additional programs that are here to support you in your day-to-day management, improvement, and just like our title says, strategies for growth. We don't want to be stagnant, and we can't as business owners. We have to move forward. So I want to just thank everybody for being here today, and on behalf of the panel, I'd like to thank all of the event hosts and the partners, including the Economic Development Corporation, the Chamber of Commerce, and of course the Governor's Office for supporting these and supporting our rural communities. So guys, if y'all would, I think we'll just introduce each of yourselves, and tell us a little bit about your program. And do y'all want to start down the line? Dustin?
Sure. My name is Dustin Delano. I work with the TMAC group, or Texas Manufacturing Assistance Center, and we'll talk more about that as we go through.
My name is Tyler Patton. I'm the director of the Small Business Development Center at University of Texas, Permian Basin.
And I'm David Miller with the Northwest Texas Apex Accelerator. We'll talk about that as we go on, I reckon.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Dusty, I want to start with you because I think you're one of our most specific resource partners here today. A lot of us are here, what I would consider, and I hope you gentlemen will agree with me, we're boots on the ground resources. We're out in the businesses. We're the person you call when you need support in all areas. And so, Dusty, can you share a little bit about exactly what TMAC is and the types of businesses that you work with?
Sure. So TMAC, as I said, is the Texas Manufacturing Assistance Center. We do a lot of different improvement process activities. We go out on site. We help evaluate issues. If there's something that's keeping you up at night, we're going to try to help resolve that. So our actual mission, and we are partially federally and state funded, so we get some funds from them. We try to help manufacturers. It actually includes distributors. I was talking to a food processor a minute ago. Just about anybody that has a process, we're going to try and help you. And we take a pretty broad view on that. Now, we do have our grant metrics, but that's kind of something that we just have to make sure we help manufacturers and other folks too. But I take a wide view of that rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. So if I can help another business that maybe doesn't fall under that, great. I've worked with custodial businesses. I've worked with large-scale manufacturers. It doesn't make much difference. And really what we're going to do is we're going to start anything from sourcing materials all the way through, hey, I'm having a lot of warranty calls and I need some help with my quality issues. So that's kind of what TMAC does. Our services include process management, process efficiency improvements. We'll come out and help you map out your process. We do a lot of train-the-trainer events as well. So sometimes we find, hey, we've got the supervisor, they're not understanding how to train, so we'll teach them that, teach them how to train, teach them how to lead or how to manage. And then we also do quality. So if you do find yourself working with David or Apex or something, and you find, hey, I want to go get an ISO 9001 certification, we can help you walk through that process. And then lastly, as we're talking about growth, on this one specifically, we do a lot of layout planning. So some of the questions I always like to throw out there is, hey, you've been producing 50 of these units a day. What happens when you start getting orders for 250? How do we get to that 250 without just hiring 5 times the workforce? Because I can't do that, they're not available. So we find creative ways to either do automation or streamline the production process, something of that nature.
Very good. Thank you, Dusty. He's one of the ones we call when we're thinking about how the wheel works, how to move the wheel, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Very good. So Dusty, tell us a little bit, as you mentioned, you're federally and state funded, which is a great thing for our small businesses, taking advantage of the resources that are already provided. But can you talk a little bit about the cost of working
Sure.
with TMAC, what that looks like, how they get engaged.
See, this is why I get to go first, because they get to be all free and pick on me all the time about it. We do have charge for services. A lot of the time, it's kind of a skin in the game part, so that what we found is when a company invests some, they're more likely to listen to the change and actually put that implementation into effect. And one of the things for me and my grant side, our metrics are based on how much more success you get. So if I go out and I work with you and then you'll go, we're not gonna do that right now, then it doesn't look as well on me. So that's the objective, is we want everybody to grow and implement these changes as well. So there are some costs. It typically ranges anywhere from about $100 to up to $20,000, because we've had things where we're out there for a couple hours on site, or we've had people do 6-month projects. So it really just depends on how in depth we get into that and how far we go. As far as grants, yes, we do work with a lot of different folks for the skills development grant, the skills for small business grants. We can do some of those. One of the things I always say is just if you have a training budget, talk to us. We'll work with you. We'll try to figure it out, because I just want to help as many and as much as we can.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Dusty, you made a really good point. The small business success is our success. And I think all of us would agree on this panel that at the end of the day, your success as a small business is what we like to celebrate, what we add value to. And ultimately, your success creates a success for your community and your legacy that you're leaving for the next generation. So, Dusty, to kind of wrap up a little bit about TMAC, how do you collaborate with other regional organizations to help businesses connect with all the needs that they have? Everything from suppliers to new markets to technology.
There's a lot of ways. So one of the big things, I've already gotten to meet a few of the EDC folks, the chambers. We will often host workshops. So many times, obviously, if I said, hey, we're going to do a supervisor development course this next week, how many of you have more than 10 supervisors? Kind of starts it. But what we can do is we partner with a local organization or with SBDC or somebody, and we find, say, 8 or 10 companies that each have 1 or 2. So we still get the same cycles of learning, we still get the same connections, we get to do that workshop with you as well. So we'll do that. We also do a lot of lunch and learns, chambers, EDCs will often bring that in. So if you have a frustration or a problem, share it with your chamber, share it with your EDC, share it with us. We will try to find a solution, whether it's me coming out and talking with you or if we bring in somebody else. And then we also do a lot of supplier connections. So there's this new network, it's called the Sustainment. And Sustainment here in Texas, we call it the Texas Manufacturing Network. But effectively, it's a network for manufacturers, distributors, and anybody that supplies or is going to be a customer of those folks. They sign up, you get a map so that, like Marco was talking about, I can't find these suppliers for parts. It's a good way to say, hey, who's got this part? Who does this in the US? Where can I find it? How can I connect them? How can I manage that relationship? So that's a service we're working to provide, as well as supplier scouting. So if you started a new business or you're an entrepreneur, you're saying, hey, I need pallet manufacturers. How do I find pallet manufacturers? We can help you find somebody to make those so that you're not having to recreate the whole wheel. And then lastly, I think the technology question, we actually have some assessments. So if you're thinking about that, say, hey, I'm wanting to bring in some technology. Would it make sense? Does a robot make sense here? Is there other automation I should look at? Are there other processes that we need to improve first? How do we walk that process through?
Dustin, I'm going to ask you just to elaborate a little bit on the technology, because I don't know if y'all heard it in the last panel when somebody mentioned AI. There was a few giggles. I heard a few giggles and a few... And so I'm curious, what does TMAC do? Let's say y'all do that assessment and the business says, yes, we'd like to adapt, move forward with some piece of either automation or technology to support their operation. What does that look like from a hands-on approach for y'all?
As you mentioned in the beginning, we're really boots on the ground. So we're going to go in and sit down, and there's a lot of excitement. I want a robot, and I want this, or I want AI. I want to use AI. How do I use AI? Most places, when we actually sit down and map that process out, it doesn't necessarily improve their product or their service, whatever it may be. So it's usually sitting down, getting the voice of the customer, the voice of the business, and saying, okay, is this really important? Is it something, or is it just a cool new gadget? Because ultimately, if it's not going to really impact the metrics of the business, we're not going to suggest implementing. If you do need that, if we find it and you're like, yeah, we really are looking for this, the W5, was it Johnny? John? Yeah. if John came to me and said, hey, I've got the CNC machine, they've got this new robot that works in here, we're going to sit down and analyze the numbers, figure out the costs, what's the return on investment going to take, and then we're going to try to connect him with an integrator. So we'll be that non-biased third party to say, hey, watch out for this company. This one is probably your better option. These guys could do it too. See what they can do to help.
Very good. Helpful through that vetting process. Again, a lot of times as small business owners, I think my favorite thing to say is we don't know what we don't know. And being knowledgeable that those resources are out there, and we just have to be willing to break that silence and ask those questions. So thank you, Dusty, for sharing a little bit about TMAC. Anything else you want to add?
If you get a chance, come check out our little table and the Legos and have some fun.
Ooh, play with the Legos. I like it. Okay, I'm gonna skip over Tyler, and I may get some heckling for this, but I would go as far as to say save the best for last, maybe the SBDC.
Okay.
But that's because
Thanks.
I'm biased as an SBDC director out of San Angelo. But one of our biggest friends along TMAC is Apex. We have a great relationship. We have very similar services. But again, where SBDCs are much more generalized, TMAC and Apex are a little bit more specific. So David, can you tell us a little bit about kind of the ins and outs of the Apex? What is it exactly?
Sure. The SBDC, and I'll throw in the spoiler here, some of you already may know, but they're geared towards helping build businesses form and develop. We take their customers, we're resource partners, and those people who have a business with something to sell to the government and are ready to enter it, we help them enter government contracting. That's our sole mission. And we're 100% government funded, primarily by the Department of Defense and the rest by Texas. So Dusty, our charges are at no cost at all to you.
Told you.
And
I didn't know he was going to pick on you. I would have stood up for you. Sorry about that.
well, he threw us under a bus. I had no choice.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But we help do that, a variety of services. We work mostly virtually, and our job is really conducive to working online, because if you were sitting in our offices, we would be staring at a screen on the TV a lot of the times anyway. So you might as well be doing it from the comfort of your home, a restaurant, a bar, wherever you are. We can work with you. We will work through registrations, through helping you with certifications, trainings, all of this designed to just help you. The government contracting is really unfamiliar to most normal people. So, and it's just full of walls, and you get past the wall and then there's a pothole that you're falling into. And so we try and knock down the walls, fill the potholes with the debris, and just make it a more level, more navigable experience. It's a great job. Like Dezaray is saying, we get to help people, but we have customers that like us because we're really doing things that they are asking us to do, and can help their businesses grow. And I mean, to your point, Marco, it's a job we really enjoy. So that's the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, thanks, David. So I'm sure some of y'all are probably sitting out there and going, what does my business have to do with government contracting? And so, David, could you talk a little bit about what businesses are eligible for government contracting? What does that look like?
Well, first of all, the government is going to buy, somebody in the government somewhere is going to buy nearly everything that someone in the private sector would, including more. I mean, there are going to be commissaries that buy essential oils. There's going to be people buying carpet. They want painting services. They need plumbing. They buy things that we don't. Hopefully your local police department will not be using missiles or rocket launchers anytime soon. But there are small businesses supplying parts for those things in towns just like Big Lake, who are very specialized in what they do, supporting things that you normally wouldn't associate with small town Texas. So the kind of business is where you're looking for? Can you find a vendor? Is it what you want to do? Are they asking for what you have? The qualifications, though, there's a rumor out there that the government can't do business with you unless you've been in operation for 2 years. It's not a rule. It's not a law. It's not a code. It's not even a guideline. I don't think Johnny Depp would even consider it a guideline. So it's what is true, though, is that a government contracting officer or procurement representative is reluctant to award money to someone who is unproven, who doesn't have past performance of the company or at least experience within the organization. So there are ways around this 2-year rumor, but what you have to do is be ready, because the government is looking for exactly what you're looking for when you're hiring someone. If you're paying somebody $20,000 to build a fence around an acre, if you could get a fence for $20,000, you want somebody who has the experience, who has the facilities, who has the financial capability, who has the staff, who has the transportation. You don't want somebody showing up asking that you've never met, saying, hey, I'll do this for a great price. Can you lend me about $5,000 for materials, and my crew's going to need a place to stay? No, they want you to be ready, willing, and able. They do it on a much larger scale, though. They really don't want somebody showing up in a brand new shiny pickup in brand new starched clothes with a brand new hammer, pulling out a tablet and looking up how to build a nuclear reactor 101 on YouTube. They're looking for experience. So they'll buy what you've got. Somebody will buy what you've got. Are you ready to do the business? Are you patient enough to go through the processes, go through the paperwork? Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, so as you start thinking, what products and services do I have that my local resources may need? And it may not be here, you're looking at your city, municipality, your county, and then the larger scope, right? Big Lake is a big provider to service areas beyond the border of Big Lake. So you've got federal bases, state institutions, TxDOT, things of that nature. So as our attendees here, David, are thinking, maybe government contracting is a way for me to expand and increase my sales. What would be some barriers and some solutions that Apex could support in those businesses entering into government contracting?
Okay. Barriers are just fear of the unknown, because it is a little bit daunting if you're not familiar or don't have a friend who's done it before. Another one is being gullible. If you've watched Fox News or CNN at lunch and found that book for $29.95 that says there's billions of dollars in federal money just waiting for you, don't believe it. It's waiting for someone, but it's not available. You're not going to get it before your rent's due, okay? Those books are no good. So be realistic in your expectations. If you need money now, it's too late to start government contracting. It's a process that takes time, getting used to the language, which is another barrier, whole new. And from federal to local, state, completely different. There's a lot of similarities in state and local contracting, local meaning your county, your city, your school system. Those are very similar to state because they fall largely under state regulations, and there are usually some variations there. Usually smaller local governments will have more restrictive thresholds and things because they're not dealing with billions of dollars. They're dealing with hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So knowing the computer systems is a barrier. Knowing the procedures, you don't just call up your brother-in-law and say, hey, you and me going to get a government contract. There's going to be things you have to do in subcontracting. There's a lot of things you need to know about depending on what you're doing and how much that contract is going to end up being. The laws, the regulations, the big hang-up, big barrier is the question, why do I gotta? Okay, here's our next step. Why I gotta do that? Well, sometimes it doesn't seem like there's a reason, but the reason we gotta do that is because they've got the money, they've got the laws and the regulations that have to be satisfied. Is this hopeless? It sounds kind of daunting. But there's free help. I mean, this is what we do time after time. Take all of these things that sound like, I'm not going to put up with that, and we make it workable for people to get into government contracting. You can then, and it's for growth, again. It's something that takes work and planning, because once you get one contract, the second is easier. Once you've done a subcontract or several subcontracts in government contracting, it's easier to be a prime. So these things grow, and so you're not going to put all your eggs in a government contracting basket, but it's going to be a supplement, and it can be a primary source of income at some point. But again, we do encourage diversity, staying in the private sector as well. So there's a lot of quirks, a lot of oddities, things that seem silly or like a joke, but we just laugh at them, we do it, and we go on. So, and one other thing. Besides us helping, SBDC helping, a lot of the government agencies, the comptroller, the TxDOT is one of the greatest as far as working with small contractors. They have departments within their agencies that specialize in helping small businesses and help getting over a lot of these hurdles we've discussed. So we'd be happy to connect and help you. Again, like Dusty, we've got cards over there, and unlike Dusty, we won't charge you for a card.
Oh.
I told them to behave before we got up here, guys. Okay, so David, you talked, you gave us a really good overview, and one of the things that I really want people to take away from this is what that help looks like. What does it mean to be a resource partner? We use that word a lot up here because that's how we define ourselves. But what does that relationship look like with somebody that calls and says, "Okay, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to take the plunge." What does that look like when they call the Apex Center?
You'll be assigned a counselor, not necessarily by your region. You might live in Lubbock, but if you had a need that more satisfied somebody who had another specialty, you might be assigned to someone in Abilene or Amarillo. We're restricted overall how we operate in and who we can operate in the state of Texas. But within our own organization, we try and match counselors with clients. So most of our work is done virtually. I mentioned that already. You're welcome to come into the offices anytime and work with us. We're happy to see you. We'll offer you water. We'll sit and work together. But the assistance, we provide counseling. We'll work with you to try and find out, are you really ready for government contracting? If not, if you don't have a plan, then we're going to direct you to someone like the SBDC, because some people don't understand what we do, and we'll get clients who come in, they want to do government contracting. Well, what do you sell? Well, I'm not sure yet. Well, have you started a business? No, I don't know whether to do an LLC or DBA or those are people that I'm not qualified to help with, because I don't, and Apex isn't really, we're not geared towards developing businesses. Other departments are. So our help is to work with you to get through the registrations that you need. And to, if we're working virtually and you were applying to be a Texas historically underutilized business, we would work through that process with you screen by screen. We'd share screens on Zoom or Teams, and we'd go by it, and we'll help you. And just like H&R Block, we'll stick through with it through the very end. If you have problems, we'll work through until you are either finally declined for whatever ineligibility reason or because you've gotten the certification. So it's all personal stuff. We do trainings nearly every week. Sometimes we'll have two. And these are government trainings. And if you're signed up with us, we will give you a code. That code's good through the end of the year, and you can attend these webinars. And they're generally an hour and a half long, and they happen at noon on Tuesday or Thursday or both. But they're all government contracting related. You may not see a need for all of them, and some of them may just apply to a federal and not have to do with state. So you can pick and choose. Once you're in, you can choose what you want. But that also gives you a library. You have access not only to those current webinars, but to the whole backlog library of those webinars, as long as you're our client. So there's a lot of topics in there you may find really, really useful. So in addition to the training, we'll help you understand the regulations. We're not lawyers. We can't advise. We can nudge you in the right direction, provide guidance. We will help you with the assistance. Through everything, just having to do with the government contract. The one thing we can't do is advise you on pricing, and the other one thing we can't do is write a proposal for you. We can work with you on a proposal. We can help you understand it. We can prompt you along the way as you're writing it. We can also, if you give us enough time before you submit it, we'll review the whole package. And in our department, we've got quite a bit of experience in government procurement. We're happy to review those for you. So, and then provide any comments which you're welcome to use or discard. So, and other things as required.
Thanks, David. I really appreciate you mentioning working with businesses as they get ready for government contracting. You kind of set that up for me nicely to pitch it over to Tyler. Tyler, as a resource, as a small business development center, talk a little bit about what the SBDC does in relation to that general business development and advising.
Certainly. Thank you. So at the SBDC, we provide no-cost, one-on-one consulting, confidential consulting for small businesses. They can be startups. That's kind of what we're known for, is working with a lot of startups who need capital infusion in order to get going, or business expansions. But we also work with a lot of businesses who have existed for a number of years and need help, for example, with their marketing, or perhaps with their financial management skills, things like that. And we do a lot of training as well. So we are kind of a generalist in that we can do a lot of different things. We have a small staff, but very experienced staff. There's 4 of us. We have complementary skill sets. I'm the finance guy. The other 2 are kind of more in the marketing side. One social media, and the other more traditional marketing. So we complement each other, I feel, very well. And we, we get about 450 new clients every year that we work with. And we again, it's all confidential and one-on-one. We do quite a few training events every year that not only are our clients invited to, but the general public. About half of those are virtual, so that would make sense for people who are in Big Lake, who don't necessarily want to, take their life into their own hands and make that drive to Midland. I had to do that this morning. So those are available to you, and those are on a variety of topics, everything from QuickBooks for beginners to grow with Google. So it covers a lot of ground.
So I would say you could look at your resource partners kind of like Goldilocks. If manufacturing's not just right and you're not quite ready for government contracting, but you're not sure where to start, you're going to find a resource partner that's just right. And so talking a little bit more about finding those resources that are just right, Tyler, talk about what market and industry resources are available for small businesses. What
Certainly.
services do y'all provide?
Love to. I think it's one of the most underrated things that we have available. And we have it available because we are funded through the federal government by the SBA, but also through the state of Texas. And most of us throughout the country are part of universities. So we have a lot of access to a lot of things that people don't normally see. They're great for people who are starting a business, but they are also very valuable for people who've been in business 25 years. Your industry has changed. The world has changed. So having that information and knowing what the current trends are can be a lifesaver for any small business, regardless of what status you are. So some of the things we have available, we have a program called Placer AI. If you have a retail location, a restaurant, anything like that, where your customers come to you through this program, we can track basically with cell phone data who's coming to see you, how long are they staying, how does that compare to last year, how does it compare to the year before, what day of the week are they coming, and then the general demographics of your current audience. So if you have questions about I need to identify my target market, well, that's a program that can do that for you. Again, it doesn't work for everybody. You need to have a location. We also use IBIS World, which I think every SBDC uses now. It's a great program. It provides macroeconomic data for industries. It can give you a lot of information, how the industry's been performing in the last few years and why, and how is it expected to perform and why. A lot of people can measure how your economic performance has been in your given industry, but they can't tell you why. So that's kind of the differentiating factor there. And then we have Vertical IQ. Vertical IQ is a great program to basically tell you how others in your industry operate and what's going on nationwide in your industry. What are the things that are happening? What's coming up that maybe locally you haven't seen yet, but others in the country have?
Tyler, tell me what the price tag is on all those amazing resources. Sorry, Dustin. Now I'm doing it.
$0. All you have to do is be a client, which is free as well. Have we said free enough times?
Yeah. No
Okay,
cost.
okay. We're good with the free? Okay, yeah. So you pay taxes. You've already paid for our services, okay? So I hate to say we're free because we're not really, but you've already paid for what we do. So yeah, if you're a client of ours, the research, there is a turnaround time. It's not immediate generally. Some of the, like IBIS World and things like that may be, but some of the others, it will take, a couple of weeks to get. I failed to mention SBDC Net, which is a program that has a wealth of resources, research resources. Some of those would be redundant with what we already have, but also some of them are unique. So you can get a lot of information about what's going on in your industry pretty easily and for a price you can't beat.
Thank you so much. So one of the things we've talked about, and probably I would say aside from employment, is one of the biggest challenges in small business management and operation, and that's funding, the big F word. So Tyler, can you talk a little bit about the current lending environment and what steps small business owners can take to have successful relations with a lender?
Sure. So the funding environment right now, bluntly, is pretty tight. It's, especially for startups, it's very tight. Different times, I've been the director 7 years. About half of that time, it's been this kind of environment. The other half of the time, I can get somebody in front of a banker and get approved in a matter of weeks. It just depends on how the economy is doing, but more so, it depends on how the lenders feel about how the economy is doing and how secure they think it is. All lenders are risk averse. That's what they do. So if they feel like the economy is particularly risky, they're going to be pretty tight until they see evidence, not speculation, but evidence that things are more secure, more predictable, I would say. There are a lot of funding programs. A lot of them are through the SBA, the 7A program, the 504 program. There's a new program coming out for manufacturers specifically that's going to be a working capital. I probably shouldn't even say anything because they haven't even rolled it out to us yet, but it is coming. Bluntly, at this point in time, conventional lending is also something you should be looking at because SBA rates are going to be tied to the prime rate. Till prime rate comes down, SBA rates are going to be a little on the high side. So we don't, just because we're funded by the SBA does not mean we have to push SBA loans necessarily.
Okay, we have just a few minutes for questions. Does anybody in the audience have any questions for our resource partners up here today?
Y'all have been way too
Oh, we
quiet.
have one in the back.
I know coming from Big Lake, I'm from El Dorado, which is really small, and I live in San Angelo right now. But I just wanted to comment on what y'all have to offer is that I worked with every one of y'all. I worked with the San Angelo SBDC when I was starting my business. I worked with David Miller in Apex and Emma Carrasco, which I absolutely love, but she retired on me. But she helped me, she took me step by step to get my hub certification as a woman-owned business, which gets you in as, when you're a hub certified business, you get priority a lot of times on getting contracts and different things like that. And then there's quotas that the universities and the government agencies have to meet by using a hub if it's available. A lot of times they'll take, some of those bids have to have 3 bids from a hub certified business. So you up the scale on it. It's usually a woman-owned business, a Hispanic, a minority of any type, a veteran, and different things like that that can get you in there. But it's well worth the time. And the SBDC walked me through it. Emma Carrasco with Apex, she helped me finish out the system. But it's very worthwhile for you if you're looking at bidding on anything or, and in a small town, I know how it is, being here and trying to do the outreach to other places. There's so many associations that you can also join. There's, besides your chamber, you've got the Texas Midwest Communities Network, which is TMCN. I've been a member for 4 years. I would highly, if you're networking, please join it. It's not that expensive, especially your communities, because you've got the county, the cities, the city managers, county judges show up, the EDC show up. They are all there networking, and they love having the small businesses come in and either just be there to network or sponsor. So just something to think about.
Thank you so much for those comments. Any other questions?
Everybody has more customers they can deal with.
Everybody's all set. I love it. Well, I'll wrap up by just saying, you're taking in a lot of information today, whether that be from your professional role, where you're also looking to be a resource for small business owners in your area, or you're a business owner yourself and you're probably thinking, I'm glad I took the time to be here, but I've got a million things to do when I get back. And so one of the things that I always like to leave is, if you take away one thing from our panel or any of the other panels today, take away the knowledge that there are resources out there to help you, that we make a living doing this every day, and it's our joy and our job to support the growth of small business owners. And so if you don't remember who was who and who supported what and what programs you need to sign up for, reach out to your local chamber, your local EDC. They're going to get you in contact with us as resource providers. We all work together very well to share our expertise and knowledge with you as the business owner. And again, your success is our success, and we want to see that. We want to see the success of our small communities and how we feed into the larger picture. So I want to thank all of y'all for being here today. Thank you so much for taking the time to visit with our audience. Any last words?
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. And I'd just like to throw out don't be scared to approach us. As Dezaray said, a lot of stuff happened today. If you work with us, more stuff is going to be said that you're going to think you understand, and you're going to be taking it. It's the classic fire hose. It's like drinking from 3 fire hoses at once. But the thing is, you can ask us a question 30 times on the same thing, because anyone that you ask 30 times, we probably asked the same question when we were first starting and being trained. We know this is a world that's not familiar to most of you. We try and make it as friendly an environment and as pleasant experience as possible, and that's across the board. So, and thank you.
I would definitely suggest, if you haven't worked with SBDC, reach out. Even if it's, I don't even know what I need to talk to them about. Have a few minutes, have a conversation. They'll talk you through it. They'll tell you where they can help or where they can't, where you need to seek other help. If you haven't done that with Apex, I would definitely say that same thing. Have that, even if it's just hey, I need 10 minutes to talk about this while we drink coffee and visit. Does it make sense? Is this a good time for me to be expanding like that? Should I be looking at it? Or is this something, I say, if it's going to be a year and you're like, yeah, I think I'd like some contracting in a year. We're talking about oil field getting bigger and better. Great. But what other opportunities do I have? This is the time to start that, because it won't stay great for forever. So start that engagement with Apex, start that, and then hopefully once you get those contracts, you'll reach out to me and say, hey, we need to move faster and get more out the door. So we can all do that. But just reach out, call us. We're happy to visit, have that conversation.
Very good. You all help your employees work the business every day. Let us help you work on your business and move your business forward. Thanks so much.